Welcome to 100 Yards of Football. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. If you like the video today, please come and share. We surely appreciate it here at 100 Yards Football. Special thanks to my producer who's making it happen this morning, Mr. Jeremiah Long. To the team of 100 Yards Football, Mr. Ronnie Keebler, Brooklyn, New York. To Mr. Bobby Butler, 1981, first-round draft pick out of Atlanta Falcons by way of Florida State University. Special thanks to Mr. Logan Landers coming to us live out of Douglasville, Georgia. Thank you for all your hard work over the past 2 weeks. And special thanks to Mark Denham, a.k.a. Mark Bass. And also to Mr. Jim Maryland. Thank you. I'm Vincent Turner, 100 Yards of Football. Everyone knows the NFL draft is coming up this Thursday. And it's an exciting time because a lot of your teams around the National Football League, if you're a fan, you're sitting back and saying, I hope he takes Anthony Richardson. I hope he takes Bryce Young. I hope he takes Jalen Carter. Well, when you look at the draft, I have to go back to, I think, the greatest era in pro football. From 1992 to 1996, the Dallas Cowboys. 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. And then everyone that's been watching 100 Yards Football since we've been really on there for the last 4 years, everyone knows that I'm a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. Been following the team ever since I was 4 years old. And I'm all of 62 years old. I'm embedded in this team. I was with this team back in 1989 in Jimmy Johnson's first year, went 1-15. I was an employee of Levi Strauss in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I remember coming in every week after that Cowboys game when they went 1-15. I took a lot of trash talking. And also at that time, I was living in Loudon, Tennessee, and my brother-in-law, Mr. Darren Kerr, I hope you're watching today. He was a hardcore Dallas Cowboys fan, and I remember the 89 season, Dallas was playing the Washington Redskins. And that was a play with Troy Aikman, the outstanding quarterback that went number 1 overall that year, was in the shotgun. And it was something out of a comedy show when the center hiked the ball and Troy Aikman wasn't even looking. And Darren Kerr said, man, I don't know. The Mel Renfro, you looking at the Cowboys were America's team for a long time, but they had that period when, let's face it, in the mid-'80s, Tom Landry was slipping. And then Dallas made the biggest move. February 25th, 1989, that's when everything changed. A rich guy out of Little Rock, Arkansas, by the name of Jerry Jones, took over the Cowboys and hired his roommate on that, who was part of the 1964 National Championship team in Arkansas, Jimmy Johnson, where Jerry Jones was also a player on the team under Frank Broyles. And they changed, to me, football forever, the history of the game. Because look where we're at now. Even though the Dallas Cowboys haven't won the Super Bowl since 1996, they are still the most powerful, richest franchise to me in all the professional sports outside the New York Yankees. No matter if they go 4-12, no matter if they go 12-4, the Cowboys are going to be must-see news, must-see TV when the season starts this year in 2023. Well, when Jerry Jones took over that team, remember in 1981, the Cowboys, they went 1-15. And as I said, I took a lot of flack being a Cowboys fan. But the joke going around the Dallas Cowboys that year was, remember, there was a lady that brought her 3 sons to Texas Stadium that year, and she dropped them off to see a Cowboys game. And remember, the joke spread it throughout the National Football League. When she came back to pick them up, her sons were beating the Cowboys 14-3. Well, I give Jimmy Jones, the head coach at the time, very talented football coach, maybe one of the best that ever done it. He had to make a bold move. His best player was Herschel Walker. See, I knew about Jimmy Johnson when he was the head coach at Oklahoma State because I knew he could coach then. Back in 1978, 1979, when he was at Oklahoma State, he had John Coker. He had Dexter Manley. He had Harold Bailey. He had Rod Ingram. He had Ernest Anderson. And then he had an Oklahoma State team, even though they was in the Big Eight, they were still winning games. They were 7-4. So I knew about Jimmy Johnson could coach football. But everything changed for this franchise on October the 12th, 1989. Still the trade of the history in the National Football League. Jimmy Johnson and the Dallas Cowboys traded Herschel Walker to the Minnesota Vikings. The Cowboys got 5 players, veteran players, Jesse Solomon, Alex Stewart, I believe Isaac Hope. But this is what the Cowboys got. They got 8 draft picks. First round in 1990, second round in 1990, sixth round in 1990, first round in 1991, second round in 1991. Then they had another first round in 1991, first round in 1992, and third rounder in 1992. But that's where the draft was built with the Cowboys. And they had 3 great players already that they called the triplets. Troy, UCLA, Emmitt Smith, go Gators, Florida, and then Michael Irvin and you. But when you look back how Jimmy Johnson built that team, think about the 90 draft, Emmitt Smith and Jimmy Jones. Then the 89 draft, I don't mean to jump ahead, he had already taken Troy Aikman, Darrell Johnston, and Tony Tolbert. But this was the draft that changed everything for Cowboy Nation. And was really behind them winning 3 Super Bowls out of 4 years in the 90s. A gentleman by the name of Russell Maryland, Whitney Young High School, by way of the U, went number 1 overall and shocked the world and set the tone. But think about who was in that draft. Alvin Harper went number 1 overall, Dallas second round pick out of Tennessee. Dixon Edwards out of Michigan State. Go Spotty, that's for you, Deshaun Tate. Then Eric Williams, big offensive tackle out of Central Ohio State. Then you had Leon Lett. Then you had Larry Brown winning the 12th round. The 91 draft changed it all for the Cowboys. It put the mustard on that great run from 92 to 96. Then in 92, you had Kevin Smith. You had Darrell Smith, the linebacker out of the Miami, and then you had Brock Marion. And the Cowboys were built in. Then think about Jimmy Johnson. His first year, they went 1-15. The next year, they went 7-9 in Emmitt Smith's first year. Then the third year, they went 11-5 and lost in the second round to the Detroit Lions. And then the fourth year, that's when they set the tone in the playoffs, when they beat the Philadelphia Eagles handily in the first game. And then they went out there to San Francisco and was a heavy underdog to a Frisco team. The 49ers had Jerry Rice, Steve Young, Ricky Waters, Tim Harris from the 901 was the outside linebacker, University of Memphis. Outstanding football team. And Dallas went in there and beat Frisco 30-20. And then the Cowboys went on an outstanding run. But what stuck out to me, that team was young, but they had a certain swagger and grit about them. They what the Cowboy fan base is. No matter if the Cowboys don't make the playoffs or getting beat in the playoffs, coming into this next year, Cowboy Nation gonna take it to another level. Always confident. Always taking no for an answer. That's what the Dallas Cowboys were at that time and still is, even though I hear stories and I hear those little tidbits. I haven't won a championship since 1996, but that's all right. We got 5. And then you think about after they beat Frisco, they went in the Super Bowl in 93 against the Bills as a 7-point favorite to a Buffalo Bills team that had been to back-to-back Super Bowls, lost them, but there was a very veteran team. Bruce Smith, Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, and the Cowboys put everyone on notice that year. out there in the Rose Bowl in LA, 52-17. The defense forced 9 turnovers. And really, Dallas could have put 70 on them. Then the following year, they go 12-4. They get Buffalo again down here where I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I live in Douglasville, Georgia, which is 30 miles from downtown Atlanta. And what did they do? 30-13. Then the following year, probably the biggest disappointment that hurt me the most is seeing Jimmy Johnson step down as a head coach, clash of egos, the divorce that should never happen. Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson went their separate ways. Because let me tell you something. If Jimmy Johnson wouldn't have stepped down as a Dallas Cowboys head football coach, I could have seen Dallas win 5 or 6 in a row. That's facts. That's no lie. Then what happened? After Jimmy Johnson stepped down, Dallas brought in Barry Switzer. Then the big-time free agent at that time, Deion Sanders, signs with the San Francisco 49ers. Dallas makes it to the NFC Championship game. They fall behind 21-0 in that game and end up losing that game 38-28. Well, Jerry Jones, as a businessman, what does he do? He goes to the competition. He signs Deion Primetime Sanders, head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes. Dallas goes 12-4 in 95, and they end up back in the Super Bowl in 96. And they'll beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 27-17. Larry Brown becomes the MVP. And what you know, the Dallas Cowboys become the first team in football history to win 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. But when you look at this organization and you look at that era, and I know the New England Patriots have had a great era. I'm a Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Their run has been outstanding. But I guarantee you, even though you look at that, people are going to still talk about that 92-96 run. Cowboy Nation, the Dallas Cowboys are still going to be at the top. Look at the stadium, Jerry's World. Look at the city. Look at the shows, Dallas, J.R. Ewing. Everything is big in Texas. The L.A. of the West, Southwest, is Dallas, Texas, and the Dallas Cowboys. Hall of Famers, Bob Hayes, Roger Staubach, Drew Pearson, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, first-round picks in Russell, Maryland overall, Ed Too Tall Jones overall. See, it's something about that organization that's always, to the day I die, and I'm buried, that silver and blue is still going to rule the National Football League. They're still going to be the Super One, number 1 franchise. No matter what the Kansas City Chiefs do, no matter what the New England Patriots do, no matter what the San Francisco 49ers do, coming into this season, they still going to talk about that young man out of Mississippi State, Dak Prescott, and what he going to do. They still going to talk about that young man out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Dennis Green's hometown, Ricky Waters' hometown, the baddest, the nastiest defensive player in the game, Michael Parsons. Cowboy Nation is always going to be number 1, baby. 1992 to 1970, 1996. The greatest era in pro football. You're looking at that team right there. Russell, Maryland. Hello. Kevin Smith. Hello. The 92 squad. Daryl Johnson. Hello. Michael Irvin. Hello. Nate Newton. Hello. Troy Aikman. Hello. It's not going to be one. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it. I surely appreciate it here. 100 Yards Football. I've been your host, Vincent Turner. Special thanks again to my team here at 100 Yards Football. Let me make it plain, short, and simple. I wouldn't be where I'm at today and having this smile on my face if it's not for Mr. Jeremiah Long, Mr. Ronnie Keebler, Mr. Bobby Butler, Mr. Logan Landers, a.k.a. Mr. Mark Denham, Mark Bass, and a special thanks to Mr. Jim Maryland. As I leave you, when I think about the Dallas Cowboys from 1992 to 1996, I think about when I was getting ready as a 17-year-old to go to the University of Arkansas. And I used to go, you know how I used to go to them parties. And then when I became a freshman at Arkansas, that was a song out. And see, this symbolizes Cowboy Nation by a young man by the name of KC out of Miami. Do you want to go party? Do you want to go party? Do you want to party? Do you want to party? Do you want to drink a little wine? Party. Do you want to drink a little wine? Party. Zoom, 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 zoom. Ooh, Dallas Cowboys. Party. Dallas Cowboys. Party. Dallas Cowboys. Party. 1992 to 96. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. I'm Vincent Turner here on 100 Yards of Football.